Madam Chair, I have turned the audio on in the boardroom, so whenever you are ready.
All righty. Thank you so much. Happy New Year, everybody.
Happy New Year to you too.
Just as you know, the weather in Alabama is sunny. It's been hot and incredibly stormy. 2 tornado warnings since I've been here since when did we arrive on Monday? Oh, so count your blessings in the Midwest. All right, let's call this meeting to order, please. Clerk, could you please call the roll? Good morning, Savannah.
Allen. Bates.
Bates here.
Berman. Davis.
Davis here.
Ford. Gums.
Gums here.
Caius.
Caius present.
Kenyon.
Here.
Lewis.
Lewis here.
Linder.
Linder here.
Molina.
Molina present.
Sanchez.
Sanchez present.
Strathman.
Strathman present.
Surges. Tepe.
Tepe here.
Purod.
Here.
You have quorum?
All righty. Who's in the room? Is Nita, are you in the room?
Yes, I am.
Could you please honor us with the Pledge of Allegiance?
Absolutely. As soon as I can get Chris Caius to stand up. I pledge allegiance to the flag of
The United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Okay. May I have a motion and a second to approve the minutes of November 30th, 2022? And hold on, I can't quite see my screen.
Kenyon would move to approve.
Thank you, sir. All right. Any changes on those? Hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Bates.
Bates, aye.
Davis.
Davis, yes.
Ford. Gums.
Gums, yes.
Caius.
Caius, yes.
Kenyon.
Yes.
Lewis.
Yes.
Linder.
Yes.
Molina.
Yes.
Molina, yes.
Sanchez.
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman.
Yes.
Surges.
Burgess, yes.
Tepe.
Tepe, yes.
Purod.
Yes, okay, very good. They pass. Is there any public comment? Savannah?
There was no
No.
one signed up.
Okay, and no one's in the audience?
No.
Okay, very good. Mr. Onsick, on to the monthly financials, please.
Good morning, everyone. I just have a few highlights to share from my report to the Finance Committee last week. The first one is that the budget book, the electronic version of that is just about finished. It should be available to be made available to you next week. As far as our year-end timeline for 2022, payroll is currently processing the wage increases and preparing for issuance of the W-2s, and finance is getting ready to issue 1099s to the vendors. We will not really have a final or close to final idea of what revenue will be until after the month of January closes. So it'll be sometime in early February when we know where we stand with our revenue. And as far as expenses, we won't know that more till the end of February. So by March, which is our usual time frame, that's when we'll have an idea of what the difference between our actual revenue collected and our actual expenses that were incurred, so that we can then allocate that excess revenue over expenditures to our various reserve funds. And the audited financial statements will not be available until the end of May. The audit itself, the preliminary audit fieldwork will take place the week of January 23rd. And then the final audit fieldwork will be beginning March 6th for the just about the entire month of March. And then that work continues on into April and May as we work on finalizing entries, closing entries, financial statement preparation, analysis, and of course, the auditor's final report. And just one thing that's new this year, it really doesn't affect you other than just so you're aware of what is kind of taking up some of our time in the background, is that there's a new requirement from the GASB, the Government Accounting Standards Board, which is requiring a different method for accounting for all of our leases. So we're pulling all that information together behind the scenes, and we'll be working with the auditors to make sure that it's recorded and reported properly. So that's all I have. If you have any questions.
I do, Mr. Onsick. The leases, is that on equipment or is that on buildings?
Who's
Any-
speaking, please?
Oh, Corinne, Madam Chair.
It's any type of lease, so it would include both of those.
Okay.
I have a question. Unless if I missed it when I was logging into Zoom, do we have an idea of what our excess revenue over expenditures is going to be?
I mean, we can guess, but I really don't like to do that. I'd like to see what it actually is because it can literally fluctuate several millions
I
of dollars.
can respect that.
Yeah,
Thank
so
you. I
it'll-
respect that answer. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
All right. Anything else for Mr. Onsick? Nothing. Thank you very much. Ms. Mann, for your update, please.
It'll be brief, but Happy New Year to everyone. On December 22nd, communications were crafted and distributed to announce that the county buildings were closing, or at least the government center was closing due to severe weather. We communicated that through all of our channels, including Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, on our homepage, and also through King County Connects. I'm also asking for your assistance once again to email me a profile of each of you. I'd like to start highlighting each and every one of you in Kane County Connects. I'd like to direct them back to your webpage on our homepage, but right now it's just kind of data related and doesn't have any kind of personal touch to it to kind of explain to your constituents who you are, where you come from, and how you do. But I do appreciate the people who did email me, Mr. Athman, thank you. And also I'd like to invite everyone. My door is open if you ever want to come talk about an idea or something that you'd like to see and published or worked on, or have a great idea for a series of something that we can get out to the constituency. I'd appreciate it. So thank you for the opportunity. Any questions? Great.
Okay, very good. Thank you, Julie. Is there any old business? I know we have some new business, and I will turn this over to Mr. Iqbal for a presentation.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. This is an item that pertains to our meetings and an Open Meeting Act. Some of us who were there 4 years ago, we remember that only physical presence was considered as attendance, and via phone, attendance was not considered unless it was properly by the chairman. Since COVID, the rules changed. All those rules were really frozen, and now there are no rules except that we can make our own rules. So far, the board has not made any rules on what is considered as attendance and what is not. So it's right now it's an open field, but we are required to make some rules. This draft that you see on the screen does that as a first step. What it says is that anyone can participate in the meeting via video conferencing, as I am doing, or Madam Chair is doing, or some other folks are doing, and it is quite effective. The only thing this draft says is that one could not do merely by audio. And that is considered proper for public who wants to view the proceedings and want to know who is really voting and who is debating on what side of the issue. That's all this draft is saying. It is not here for any voting. The voting will be done by the board. It's only for discussion today and consensus. Thank you.
That is correct. Due to the potential change of rules of order, the way we handle our board meetings, this is to be brought to you for your consideration. We would welcome any comments on this, and it is a bit of a restriction for you because we want to make sure, as you can see Mr. Iqbal and you can see myself, that if you choose to Zoom, that we need to see your full screen and not just your name or a photograph of you for full participation. I have spoken to a number of our constituents, and this is what I've heard, that this is a elected position. You've all done this voluntarily, and as a respect for our constituents and to our voters, they would appreciate being able to see the board members as they're speaking and making sure that they are truly in attendance. I know many of you work, and this may be a bit of a burden for you. You may be taking it on phone, or you may have other things that you need to do, or if you're in your home in the background. But I think it's critically important that we follow the rules of order that has been presented to the courts and how they handle their Zoom meetings, and simply replicate that. So welcome your comments on this. We can bring it back to the executive committee in February for your potential approval, and then move it on to the full board.
Madam Chair, Linder.
Yes, who's there, please?
Linder.
Mr. Linder, yes.
Yes. I did a bit of research on this last week. I checked with City of Geneva, Batavia, St. Charles didn't respond. Aurora and Elgin, a couple of the other counties, Geneva School District, almost all of them have simply adopted the language that's in the statute. The statute does put forth restrictions as to the reason for your absence and the fact that the board needs to vote each meeting to accept those people who are here. Then the statute does let you put on these other restrictions, like we have, saying no audio, face has to be on. That allows us to but we do have to live with those restrictions. The other places have actually put that restriction in their municipal code or their county code language. And I think, so that there be no misunderstanding, I think that we need to include that restrictive language that's mandated by the statute in our, we say in here, we're going to adhere to the Open Meetings Act, but I think, to be clear, those restrictions probably ought to be in here.
So the restrictions are, one, you have to be welcomed in or voted in by the sitting committee or the board that is meeting to accept your ability to participate via Zoom. Previous restrictions, and Mr. Linder, you can help me if I don't have them all. You're ill, let's say you have a communicable disease, or you are in the hospital unable to attend because of health. If you have a work-related issue, travel, which prevents you from attending. And there's one more, I believe.
That work, or the work, having problems holding this button. That work-related one also includes if you're doing business for the board.
Correct.
And then the last one is a family emergency.
So there are no other restrictions on this. For instance, my Zooming in and sharing this meeting would not be able to occur under those restrictions.
Correct. I haven't seen anything anywhere where anybody has to present a doctor's certificate saying that they're sick, and just, you're ill. So, there's no way of really checking those reasons, but those are the reasons that are accepted by the statute.
And I do not believe that we have to, I think we can modify those for our needs.
We can be more restrictive. We can't be less restrictive than those. That's my understanding of it.
Michelle Meerman has her hand up, Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms. Chairman, thank you.
Madam Chair, we would be happy to work with Board Member Iqbal to review this proposed, right now it's captured as a resolution. It would need to be an ordinance, but we would be happy to review this with Mr. Iqbal and make any necessary changes to comply with the statute.
Okay, all right, very good. So for Ms. Neerman, as far as guidance from the board and getting their input, what kinds of changes can be suggested?
I don't have the draft up on my screen. All I see right now is what's being shared in terms of a resolution that doesn't have any proposed amendments showing right now. So I will need to take a look at that. We had proposed a draft a while ago that had been shared. And so I just need to compare those two drafts. Our draft followed the statute exactly. And as Mr. Linder suggested, we can be more restrictive, but we can't be less restrictive. So we'll just need to look at that. I know Mr. Iqbal had circulated this late last week. We were in the middle of responding to an emergency matter at the time. We were not able to review the draft, but we will certainly be happy to do that.
And the now that the state legislature is, well, they'll be back in session 2 weeks because they're getting sworn in, I think, on the 11th. So is this going to soon within the next couple of weeks? So they'll be in session. Right now, the guidance, we're operating under the COVID guidance. So until the COVID guidance is either altered, removed because there's no health emergency, right now we can continue on as needed. Or as we choose.
In accordance with the statute, if the head of the public body makes a determination that in-person attendance is not practical or prudent, then you can proceed under the emergency provisions. We still have the governor's emergency order declaration in place. So we do have that. And then obviously the head of the public body, whether that be this committee or any other committee or the board, makes a determination that's not practical or prudent for in-person attendance.
Can you clarify that for me? Because it seems like I'm hearing two separate items. One is we have to go by the restrictions of the Open Meetings Act as set forth previously before Zoom came in, before the emergency order. So, and many of the other communities surrounding in Kane County have adopted that. We can't be any less restrictive. We can certainly be more restrictive, but we don't know what the restrictions or modifications of the Open Meetings Act is going to be by the state at this point.
The statute already provides for two different scenarios for participating remotely. One is sort of the run-of-the-mill restrictions on participating remotely. The other one is in the case of public health emergencies. So in that case, you have to have either the governor or the Illinois Department of Public Health declaring some sort of emergency, public health emergency. And then the next step is for the county board chair, in the case of the whole county board, or the chair of a particular committee to make a determination that, you know, it's not practical or prudent, meaning due to the safety issues involved with a public health emergency, to require in-person attendance. That's already written into the statute. So you have two different scenarios. What could change is at some point the governor could lift the emergency declaration, and then we would have nothing in place. So then you would not have the option, even if you determine it's not safe, for in-person attendance.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So the minimally we have to include if it's not safe, if there's a flood or a blizzard and we want to continue our business.
Well, I think that those provisions of the statute operate automatically and you can make those determinations. I don't think you necessarily have to incorporate that into the code. But if you want to have the flexibility to attend in person, remotely, I'm sorry, then we have to adopt the other type of section, the other type of allowance for remote attendance.
Okay.
So we can work through that with the committee members and with you to make sure everything sort of matches your goals and desires.
All right. So can I just, I believe it is the will of the executive committee to continue using Zoom.
Yes,
Yes.
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 Madam Chair Gums.
Yes, Ms. Gums.
I go back and forth on this. I do know there is pending legislation when and if the governor does lift the disaster proclamation. The state of Illinois has recognized that Zoom is an asset to them, not a deterrent. Also, my feelings are, and speaking to other board members and my constituents, frankly, it's a tool that we have now, and it's beneficial, I think, to our constituents for many different reasons. One, we can be at more meetings. Also, if you have your own business, if you are retired, or if you're, married to somebody who's got a lot of money, let's say, then you have that luxury to travel back and forth to these meetings. And if you don't, then you are excluded from the governing process. So I would argue, my personal perspective is, I would argue it's more inclusive to allow Zoom. Nobody's complained about it. We do our business very well. I think collectively across the state, it's been done perfectly fine, and there's been no complaint. So I would like it to be more inclusive, not less inclusive, because we don't want to exclude anyone from the governing process.
Okay. All right. Very good. So you are certainly in favor of Zoom. Is there anybody here who's opposed to it?
Madam Chair.
Yes, Mr. Tepe.
I'm certainly not opposed to it. I just want to speak on one point. I think what is being recommended is that in order to be voting at the time you're on Zoom, you have to show a live picture.
Yes, that's correct.
And I want to emphasize that I think that's a very strong point that I would recommend that we do. So that means anybody using a phone wouldn't be able to vote, and anybody who didn't have their live picture up wouldn't be able to vote. Everybody okay with that?
So no bad hair days.
I have, every day for me is a bad hair day. So.
Put your picture up. Madam Chair Sturgis.
Yes, Mr. Sturgis.
I guess I've always viewed Zoom as a convenience factor and not a daily use it 100% of the time situation. So if you're asking for concurrence, I can't give concurrence at that time, but that doesn't mean I'm object to it. I just need a little bit to process. And I do agree that if you're voting, we need to see you and we need to see your face in order to do that. So I do concur with Mr. Tepe on this one.
Madam Chair.
Yes, Ms. Bates.
I don't know why being on the phone live, but without a picture, would be legally any different from being on Zoom with your face showing. Maybe I'm so pretty you want to see my face, but thank you, Mr. Kenyon. But legally speaking, and I guess this is a state's attorney's question, whenever the word legally comes up, I don't think it matters. I think legally, if I'm on my phone and it's got Mavis Bates's caller ID on there, I don't think it's different. So I think a vote should be allowed. It's a fun, why would people make that difference? It's so subjective.
Madam Chairman?
Yes.
Kenyon, I can't believe that I agree with Mavis Bates and Cliff Sturgis, but I think that not attending the meeting is overused. To miss one meeting, 2 meetings, but not to miss every meeting, so call in. If you didn't want to be part of this group, why do it? If this is maybe a little inconvenience, but I think it's worth it. In other words, we should restrict the number of times you can use it unless you have a medical reason. That's just my feeling. I'm sure that's close to what you're getting at.
Well, I mean, Sturgis,
Oh,
I guess my
Yes,
point
Mr.
is, we all go on vacation. We all have, family situations, at certain times, and Zoom as a convenience is there. I've said this before, I don't ever want this board to become a situation where the only members can be retirees. And if Zoom allows us to have individuals that hold jobs, an individual that might work in the city, and rather than taking an entire day off to attend a county board meeting, they can Zoom in. I get that, but I don't want that to become the norm. I guess is what I'm saying. And I just need a minute to digest that. I mean, it was a convenience factor when we went into the pandemic. I think that the country and business has embraced Zoom as a way to do business.
Absolutely.
And I think it's just a matter of are we comfortable with that or not? On the other hand, we were elected to come in, and get the job of the people done. But does Zoom really prohibit us from doing that or not? I just need a minute to kind of get my arms around it. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
Chair
so-
Stratton?
Just with a comment.
Okay, 2 more comments, and then you can see this is a thoughtful and lively conversation. Mr. Rathman?
I am wondering if we want to do, put in place something that says we are limited to the number of times that we can, depending on how we want to put the language, we might want to say we are limited to the number of times we can Zoom in, or on the other hand, make a recommendation that you be in person, because there's so much that goes on with body language and nuances that you can't get when you're on a Zoom meeting. And I appreciate the Zoom meeting. I think I've learned a lot. There's been a lot. And, sometimes during the pandemic, I've been able to attend meetings when I wouldn't be safe or anybody else would have been safe for me to come in. So I appreciate the Zoom, but I'm wondering if we don't want to make some recommendation as to attendance in person per quarter or something like that. As long as we're having this discussion, maybe we need to consider something like that.
Okay, very good. Mr.
Yeah,
Davis?
absolutely.
Yes,
Um,
Davis?
As a person that's been at the center of this, particular controversy more than once, I would say that to my colleague, Mr. Sturgis, consider inserting the word efficiency for convenience. It is more than a convenience. And the idea of having people that are actively working and not just retirees participate, I think would agree wholeheartedly with that concept. I don't have a strong objection to turning the camera on. I don't generally do it, but I can start doing that. And I would prefer to be in a meeting in person when possible. But as soon as you start to put restrictions on something where, there's an allowance for medical reasons and so forth, Michelle Neerman and company will help us through those things. So I think that it's something that allows us to do the work quite efficiently. And for those that for whatever reason, find themselves only able to participate by phone, to say, well, we're not going to count that. you're not just turning them away, you're turning roughly 24,000 people that they represent away. So I don't agree with that approach either. But I'm sure we can work this out, and I think it'll be pretty clear to everybody that, you know, that if you can show up in person, that is the preferred method. But don't ignore the efficiencies of what's now available to us in the world. Thank
Mark,
you.
the irony of your camera being off is not lost.
There you go.
I know you miss me.
I do.
So
Can't see its tie.
So we can continue on. We all enjoy using Zoom. It's a remarkable convenience. It's something that we all struggled through 2 years ago on learning what it's about and getting cameras and figuring out how to have a great background and how to use it. But now it is available to us, and it is a tool that in the business world and in the governmental world has been used and will continue to be used. So I have no thought of not wanting to continue this. I do like seeing people's faces. I think that is just an important part of it. Most of our phones will allow that to happen. Most of us have smartphones, and very few of us probably use rotary or dial-up phones anymore. So I think that having the ability to have an image on your telephone as you're talking, even if you are in your car, is not a heavy lift to be able to achieve. So I would like to continue this conversation. We'll bring it back to you in February. And in the meanwhile, if you have any thoughts to this, obviously, you can share those with Jane, and we'll make sure that we'll collect all those and give those to Michelle, and she can take a look at it. She will be working with Mr. Iqbal. And Mr. Iqbal, thank you so much for taking the time and putting this together. It is necessary and needed that we move forward on this so that we can adopt it for Kane County's needs, rather than just having the restriction of the state telling us what we may or may not do. If we can amend it to serve our constituents and to serve all of you, all 24 of you. Okay, so if there's nothing else, I'd like to be able to move on. Let me see. Speaking of Zoom, good grief. So trying to manipulate all of this is, and I just, I've just deleted my my notes. Here we go, by pressing the wrong button on my computer. So give me just a minute. Here we go. Okay, I'm back in business now. So now we're on to our preliminary board agenda. Mr. Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We actually have 3 resolutions for American Rescue Plan today, but 2 will be at the end of this agenda. They came in kind of last minute, but they're time sensitive. So this one before you right now is a resolution authorizing the American Rescue Plan Committee to supervise the conduct and operations of the Kane County American Rescue Plan Program, and authorizing the program manager's use of state and local fiscal recovery funds for administrative expenses. This is just us continuing to develop the program and making it more simple for a program manager to make small expenditures for his administrative purposes, such as a new monitor or printer paper, whatever it may be, without having to come to the committee and go through the full county board track each month. So it's just an administrative ease resolution, pretty simple. It'd allow him to just provide us with reports on his minor expenditures. I'll take any questions, and I will make the motion and ask for a second.
Bates, second.
Are there any concerns about this or questions? Hearing none. I have one, Mr. Sanchez. Is there a budget already set forth for these items, for these modest capital expenses, commodity expenses?
Yes, we do have a budget that was submitted with everyone else's for 2023. So this is all in accordance with the budgetary policies that the county has.
Okay. Very good. Very good. Thank you. If there's no other questions, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen. Bates.
Bates, yes.
Berman. Davis.
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Kenyon,
Kenyon, yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe,
Tepe, yes.
Huron.
Yes. Okay, Mr. Caius, you're next, administrative.
Yes, I'd like to move the two resolutions at the same time, if that's appropriate. It's okay. I would move that we approve the purchase of two in total. Well, first, let's approve the purchase of two 2023 Ford F-450 cab chassis for the Kane County Division of Transportations for in item 1, units 2 and 26. And in item 2, the resolution approving two 2023 Ford F-450 cab chassis trucks for the King County Division of Transportation, units 23 and 26.
36.
Davis, still
23 and
second.
36. Okay. And just a little bit of a headline on that, or the explanation is that all vehicle purchases, for those of you who are new to the board, originate in the administration committee and then move to exec and forward typically, unless there's an emergency. So that's the explanation.
All right, any questions about purchasing these vehicles? Hearing none. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Allen? Allen, you are muted. I cannot hear you. Bates?
Bates, yes.
Davis?
Davis, yes.
Ford? Gums?
Gums, yes.
Caius?
Caius, yes.
Kenyon?
Kenyon, yes.
Lewis?
Lewis, yes.
Linder?
Linder, yes.
Olina?
Molina, yes.
Sanchez?
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman?
Strathman, yes.
Surges?
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe?
Tepe, yes.
Huron.
Yes. Mr. Berman?
He is not here, Madam Chair.
Oh, he is not here.
Welcome aboard.
All righty. He had his birthday was yesterday, so
Madam Chair, Sturgis, I'm happy to run through these.
I'll let thank you, but I will let my vice chair, Mr. Tepe, do so. Mr.
perfect.
Tepe?
Thank you, Madam Chair. The resolutions for the Finance Committee to, one, authorize refunds of certain employee health plan wellness program non-partition penalties issued in 2019. Second, resolution authorizing fiscal year 2022 and 2023 budget adjustment for the Kane County State's Attorney's Office.
Do we, I'd like to stop you, Mr. Tepe, for just a second. We always get confused with this. I do believe that each one of these has to be voted upon separately.
Then I'd accept a
Sturgis moves item 1.
Tepe seconds.
Madam Chair Sanchez, if I may.
Yes, sir.
At executive, typically, we're able to move multiple resolutions together since we're just placing these on consent agenda. And then typically we'll ask if anyone wants to remove.
Absolutely. That'll be great. Great.
That is
Okay.
fine.
That'll be fine. Thank you, Ms. Nerman. All right, let's go. So you're number 3 then.
Wait a minute, State's Attorney's coming to this.
Uh-oh, she's coming to the podium. Watch out, you're in trouble.
Oh, she sat back down.
Number 3, a resolution authorizing the transfer of the Kane County Office of Emergency Management from the Kane County Sheriff's Office back to the county. Number 4, a resolution of the fiscal year 23 budget adjustment for Kane County Building Management Funds. Number 5, a resolution authorizing a 2023 budget adjustment and addendum to a warranty, support, and licensing agreement with Hart Intervic for voting systems. Number 6, resolution authorizing an agreement with Sourcewell and Pitney Bowes for postage meter equipment, products, services, and prepaid postage. Number 7, a resolution authorizing a contract extension of aerial ortho imagery, Hope I pronounced that one right.
You did. Very well done.
Number 8, a resolution authorizing the extension for 2022 to 2023 Mill Creek SSA Parkway tree and stump removal services. Number 9, resolution authorizing a lease for dark fiber with MetroNet. Number 10, resolution authorization of a contract for Kane County plumbing maintenance and repair services. Number 11, a resolution authorizing the approval of additional funds for 2022 to 2023 Mill Creek SSA Parkway tree and stump removal services. Number 12, a resolution authorizing the extension for 2023 to 2024 landscape maintenance services for the Mill Creek SSA. Number 13, a resolution authorizing a contract renewal for Mill Creek SSA office space lease. Number 14, a resolution authorizing additional funds for the annual maintenance of software modules for Tyler Financial System, Socrata. Number 15, a resolution approving a contract extension with Huddleston McBride Drainage Company for drainage consulting services. Number 16, a resolution approving the purchase of replacement fitness equipment for the Kane County Sheriff's Office.
Bates, please. Can I ask a question now or later?
No, Ms. Bates, please wait until this is all done.
Right.
Number 17, a resolution authorizing an updated contract with WellPath for detainee medical services. Number 18, a resolution approving an intergovernmental agreement between the City of Aurora and the City of Elgin for the execution of the 2022 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant Program Award. Number 19, a resolution authorizing participation in the appellate prosecutor program. Number 20, a resolution authorizing amendment number 2 to agreement for professional healthcare services between the County of Kane and the Kane County Child Advocacy Center and the Board of Trustees of the University of Illinois. Number 21, a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with Ogle County for juvenile detention services. Number 22, a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with Stevenson County for juvenile detention services. Number 23, a resolution authorizing an intergovernmental agreement with Lee County for juvenile detention services. Number 24, a resolution authorizing an addendum to the intergovernmental agreement between the County of DuPage and the County of Kane to provide juvenile detention services. Number 25, a resolution authorizing an addendum to the intergovernmental agreement between the County of McHenry and the County of Kane to provide juvenile detention services. Number 26, a resolution authorizing opioid response community implementation projects. Number 27, a resolution approving the purchase of 2 replacement vehicles for the sheriff's offices for patrol division. Number 28, a resolution establishing guidelines for releasing general fund contingency budgets for new personnel and adult board and care expenses. Have to turn the page, sorry. Number 29, a resolution authorizing execution of ISDA bilateral IBOR supplement amendment agreement with Fifth Third Bank for Crane Road Estates Special Service Area. And number 30, a resolution approving November 2022 claims paid. I hereby move all 30 of these resolutions. May I have a second?
Mr. Vice Chair Sanchez here, I would just ask that we could remove the first item because I do need to vote on that separately. I was informed by the state's attorney.
And
Okay, so Mr. Sanchez requests that item number 1 is voted on separately. And I believe that Ms. Bates, you had a question on number Was with
Six-
the sheriff's office.
16. May I go?
Do you want that pulled?
Yes.
Okay, then I hereby move.
Is there anybody else? I'm sorry, hold on a second. Is there anybody else who wants to pull
Madam
one?
Chair, Caius,
Yes, Mr. Caius.
just in way of explanation, resolution 8, 11, and 12, authorizing additional funds for the Mill Creek area. We have some modifications to those resolutions. And I think Roger Fonstock could explain that a little bit. And you have copies for that? So
Let's remove those.
let's remove those.
Okay, so we have 1, 16, and 8, 11, and 12. Is there anything else?
And one more thing, but this is Caius
Yes.
again, just an explanation, as I mentioned earlier, that all vehicles go through the administration committee and typically do not go through finance. You'll see that item 27, just in case anybody had a question about the 2 replacement vehicles for the sheriff's office that were submitted late, and in order to keep on track and make sure that those vehicles were not delayed, we just had that submitted to finance and was approved there, and it's going through with that. So not to be pulled, just to explain if anybody has any question.
Madam Chair Bates, please.
Yes, Ms. Bates.
For 16, I just have a clarification question. I'm not sure we have to vote on it separately, but if I
Let's,
could ask a
let's,
question.
Yep, let's pull it.
let's pull it. Let's pull it.
That's
And
fine then.
let's pull 27 so we can have a separate vote on that since it was not really voted on in committee.
Sounds good.
27 was voted at JPS committee and then it was voted in finance.
Oh, it
So
was,
it
right.
just didn't go to administration.
Ah, okay.
So we don't.
Okay, so we're fine
Then
with
we will not
27.
pull 27. Thank you.
All right, so to confirm, 1, 16, 8, 11, and 12. And if there's nothing else, clerk, please call the roll.
I'll
Oh,
make a
Ms.
motion, I'll make a motion
Neerman?
for
Hold
all
on a second.
except, make a motion for all except those items. May I have a second?
8 seconds.
Ms. Neerman, do you have did your hand come up?
Yes, and I just lost the resolution number. I'm sorry, my screen moved. We would recommend that Ms. Molina abstain from voting on the health, the wellness refund resolution, as well as Mr. Jarrett
Okay,
Sanchez.
so that's number 1.
That is correct.
Okay, one was pulled.
All righty, very good. Okay, if there's no other questions, clerk, could you please call the roll with the exemption? We're voting on all with the exemption of 1, 16, 8, 11, and 12.
Okay, Allen,
Allen, aye.
Bates,
Bates, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Ford, yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Caius,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Kenyon, yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Tepe,
Tepe, yes.
Huron.
Yes. All right, very good. Okay, so now let's go back to number 1. And
Number-
Mr. Tepe.
Okay, number 1, a resolution authorizing refunds of certain employee health plan wellness program non-participation penalties issued in 2019. I hereby move. May I have a second?
Linder, seconds.
Strathman seconded.
Oh, second. Okay, now any questions on this? Comments? Could we get some explanation on this since we're having 2 of our board members to abstain?
This follows refunds that were given to MAP and PBLC employees last year. This emanates from a miscalculation of an application of the wellness penalty back in 2019. At the time, Ms. Molina, and Mr. Sanchez were on the health plan, and they would actually also qualify for these refunds. That's why we are recommending that they abstain from voting.
Okay, okay. Very good, thank you. Are any other questions on this? Okay, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, aye.
Bates,
Bates, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford, Gum,
Gums,
Gums,
yes. Gums, yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Kenyon,
Kenyon, yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina abstains.
Sanchez,
Sanchez abstain.
Bethman,
Bethman, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Tepe,
Pepe, yes.
Kira.
Yes.
Passes with 2 abstain.
Okay, thank
Okay,
you.
item number 8, a resolution authorizing the extension for 2022 to 2023 Mill Creek SSA Parkway tree and stump removal services. Tepe moves,
Caius second.
Caius sections,
Okay,
Okay.
this is Roger
Mr.
Feinstock.
Feinstock.
Yeah, I have a substitute resolution for this. We've been working with purchasing and the state's attorney's office trying to extend the services for the trees and the tree removals at Mill Creek and going back through the history of the bids and RFP process. And in doing that with them, trying to identify the amounts of money that's approved or authorized. So there's base bids, and then there's per unit pricing, and then there's hourly pricing. And in this original resolution, we'd asked just to authorize the amount not to exceed what was budgeted. And after talking with the state's attorney and purchasing, they'd like us to go back to what the original language had, which was the $30,000 plus the additional invoices that were incurred. So I have a revised version that I'd like to get a motion to substitute the revised version for the one that you had in the packet. And the only significant change is that it changes from 377,000 to the original 30,000. The 377,000 was just the budgeted amount that we had in the line item. And we're assuming, well, you can't spend more than was budgeted on trees and stumps. So for those of you that don't know, the Mill Creek SSA has literally thousands of trees, and they replace 50 to 100 trees throughout the year that, they die from salt or from other disease. And when they die, they actually come out, replace the tree, grind up the stump, put a new tree in. They have to put in relatively mature trees. So I think last year they started out with 51 trees, and then it went from there. So I'm going to pass this out, but the only significant changes from the original not to exceed was the budgeted amount of 377,000. This says not to exceed 60,000. So it's actually less.
Caius would move
Sanchez
To-
seconds.
to substitute this for the original.
The motion
Biggest changes.
would be moved to amend. Amend.
Okay, to amend. Motion would be to amend then.
All right, can we, once everybody gets the document, can Mr. Tepe, since you have it in front of you, please, could you put the motion appropriately?
The motion and the document amends the resolution to increase the maximum amount from 30,000 to 60,000. Other than that, the entire document is the same.
And I would add, it removes the $377,000 budgeted amount.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
where's
Mr.
that?
Comment.
I don't see that number
Yes, Mr.
in
Hold
here.
on, Mr. Davis.
Oh, sorry.
This is the original that's in the packet. Blair just pulled it up. And you'll see where it says the 377,000. That was the budgeted amount for that line item. And from Mill Creek, they were just trying to authorize the budget that they had, but the bid document has language in it for some reason that says not to exceed $30,000, or we have additional invoices that go beyond the $30,000. So we're trying to get the authorization for $60,000 to cover all the invoices that they have and the contract that they have for $30,000. This has been going on for several months, actually.
Davis, again, just for clarification, this is an SSA, so we're talking about their budget and their dollars, not ours.
That's
Yes.
correct. That's correct. But
Okay,
we
just want everybody to realize that.
We just need just clarification on this, on the adjustment. to this resolution. So, Mr. Tepe, could you do it one more time with the 60,000 and what is it, 337,000, whatever that initial change is?
I don't see any $337,000.
It's in the original. That you don't, that's the modified
Ah,
version. So,
okay.
yeah, there's the original
There,
is in
on
the
the
packet.
screen.
I didn't hand that one out because
Thank
you
you.
already have it.
Okay, so one more time.
We need a
Uh,
motion.
Why
for
don't
the-
I read the entire resolution?
I think we can just do the amendment.
This is the amendment. I moved that we amended, and I don't know that we got a second. That's
8
point of order, Kaya.
seconds.
Okay, but what is the amendment?
To substitute the 60,000 for the 335,000.
377,000 was in the original budget.
Oh.
And then the one that was handed out was for $60,000. And it actually changed literally just before this meeting from 30 to 60 because of some invoices that I was informed are actually sitting, waiting for the authorization. So
And this is per a request, excuse me, this is Caius again, per a request from the state's attorney to modify to match the original bid. Is
yes,
that
we're trying
correct?
to match the bid document, which had a statement in it that said not to exceed $30,000, which is going to be changed in the future. This was done 2 years ago, I think. And there's really no reason to have a not to exceed $30,000 bid because you can do all of that work without a bid or a board resolution. The financial policy allows you to do 3 quotes up to $30,000. So we're not sure why it was done that way originally, but there obviously was an assumption that they could continue to plant trees and continue to work in the Mill Creek SSA on this. So we have some invoices that went beyond last year's $30,000, and then we're looking for the authorization for next year to do more trees. So we're asking for the $60,000 authorization for this particular vendor, which is HGTS. And we're removing the $377,000 budgeted amount. So it goes.
Bates, please.
Yes, Ms. Bates.
I think this is a housekeeping
Yes.
issue and
Yes.
it's not even spending our money, it's spending.
Yes.
No, and they want to do it. So I think this is a easy
Oh.
decision.
Oh, absolutely. I would agree. Just clarification. All right, so Mr. Tepe, I think we're ready for the vote. Are you in agreement?
Can we have a roll call on the amendment?
Allen,
Ellen, I.
Bates,
Bates, yes.
Berman, Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford, Gums,
Gums, yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Kenyon,
Kenyon, yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Surges,
yes.
Tepe,
Tepe, yes.
Keurig.
Yes.
Okay, then may we have a roll call on the amended resolution?
We need a motion.
It's,
We've already.
No, we already have a motion on that.
And
There
the
we go.
motion is to place on the consent agenda, or are we putting it off consent for next week's meeting?
On consent, right?
I think on consent.
All of these. are-
Leave it on
Okay.
consent. It's SSA. It'll be
I don't
fine.
want to confuse anybody else any further. Okay.
Just did. Okay, so may we have a roll call on the original motion?
I'm sorry, can I get the first and second for that?
Tepe moved.
Caius.
And Mr. Caius, I think seconded.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, ready, Savannah?
Yep, Allen,
Ellen, I.
Bates,
Bates, yes.
Berman, Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford, Gums,
Gums, yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Kenyon,
Kenyon, yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Tepe,
Tepe, yes.
Keurig.
Yes.
Okay, resolution number 11.
Vern, I have a question, Surges. On these items that were pulled off of this, that were pulled out, are we putting those on in consent
Yes.
Is that the agreement on all of these?
That was my reason for
Right, I
pointing
agree.
that
I
out. So that's
totally
what I
agree.
thought. Yes.
So while they were pulled here, we're voting and that will add them back into the consent.
Correct.
Perfect.
That's
Thank
the
you.
intention. Yeah.
But you may pull it off. Okay, number 11, a resolution authorizing the approval of additional funds for 2022 to 2023 Mill Creek SSA Parkway tree and stump removal services.
Caius will second.
Deputy moves.
Caius will second.
This is Roger again. This is the same circumstance. Basically, we're trying to extend a Mill Creek SSA resolution and contract with Langton. It's for trees and removal of stumps. And again, you know, they work together. Sometimes one vendor's not available, the other one's used. So we had originally asked for the
This is
budgeted
slightly
amount
different.
that we have in the Mill Creek SSA of the 377,000. The state's attorney's office and purchasing, we talked to them, they'd asked us if we could narrow that to what we actually think is expended. And we came up with $60,000. Again, the bids have unit pricing and hourly rates. So they bid a base proposal, and then on top of that, they'll let you, add more trees or do more work at an hourly rate or a unit price. So the original contract awarded the base bid, but didn't account for any of the additional hourly work or unit pricing if you make any changes. So again, we're asking to not use the $377,000 budgeted amount, and it would be changed to not to exceed $60,000 for the same types of services with Langton.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so we have a motion. We need a motion to approve the amendment.
Caius would move if we need to do it. Yeah.
Bates.
Caius moves that we amend to from 335 to 60.
Bates second.
Okay.
Any discussion? Maybe we have a roll call on the amendment. Take one and pass it on.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Bates,
Bates, aye.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford, Gums. Ms. Gums,
Gums, yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe,
Deputy, yes.
Huron.
Yes.
Okay. Now may we have a roll call on the resolution as amended.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Bates,
Bates, aye.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford, Gums,
Gums, yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder. Mr. Linder,
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe,
Deputy, yes.
Huron.
Yes.
Thank you. Resolution number 12, authorizing the extension for 2023 to 2024 landscape maintenance service for the Mill Creek SSA. Tepe moves.
Caius, second.
Kaya seconds.
Okay, keeping with the same.
Mr.
theme.
Feinstock.
Keeping with the same theme. So we are working with the Mill Creek SSA's funds, and again, talking with the state's attorney's office about the base bid, the unit pricing and the hourly rates. Instead of going with the budgeted amount of $377,000, which is what we literally are limited to, we're asking to change that to the not to exceed $140,000, which is based on last year's expenditures. So that's what we're recommending. We'll switch from the 377,000 to the 140,000 that's in the revised resolution in front of you.
Caius would move that we amend from the original to $140,000.
Linder, second.
Okay. Any discussion? May we have a roll call on the amendment?
Allen,
Allen, I.
Bates,
Bates, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford. Gums,
Gums, yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Pepe,
Deputy, yes.
Keurig.
Yes.
Thank you. Now may we have a roll call on the resolution as amended?
Allen,
Allen, I.
Bates,
Bates, aye.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford. Gums,
Gums, yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Pepe,
Deputy, yes.
Keurig.
Yes.
All passes.
Item number 16, a resolution approving the purchase of replacement fitness equipment for the Kane County Sheriff's Office. Tepe moves,
Molina seconds.
Molina seconds.
I have a question.
Yes, Ms.
Um,
Bay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. In Kane County Board 101, we learned, I believe, that the county board assigns a budget to the sheriff's office because the sheriff is an elected official on his own part, but we do not tell him how to spend his budget. So I'm all in favor of having fitness equipment for the sheriff's office, but why are we even voting on this? I don't understand that. Why are we voting on this?
We are allotted a budget to all the elected officials, but we still vote on individual purchasing items. We don't just tell him, here's $1 million, spend it however you want. We still have, they still come back with different purchases that they're making with the budget that was allotted. It's just transparency in government. So-
Okay, so they could come to us for fitness equipment. We could say, no, we don't like that.
Correct.
We could, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, at the end of the
absolutely.
day, you have the last word. The fitness equipment is over 15 years old, so it's just replacing it.
I'm all in favor
And
of it.
it
I
will be
just don't know
donated.
why it's our business.
Go ahead.
I have not been involved in the,
Pull it up, please.
Microphone, please.
how's that?
You're not that short.
Erin Brady from the State's Attorney's Office. I have not been involved in this project, so I can't speak to this one in particular, but your question suggests to me that it relates to the internal control statute. As you know, many elected officials do have internal control over the operations of their office. The sheriff has that internal control, except that the internal control statute for a county sheriff does require that they use the county's purchasing procedures. It's a little bit different.
Okay.
And so to the extent that this was a project that was bid out, it was done through that process as required by the county's code. By state statute, the internal control statute, just a little bit different for the sheriff's office.
Okay.
Okay,
So he still has to come to us for individual items.
If it's being done through a bidding process, that's being done in conjunction with the state statute.
It's similar to the resolutions purchasing a new patrol vehicle,
New what?
patrol vehicle,
Okay.
a new.
All right. I just didn't understand. I think
And as I say, I'm not sure that that's the issue here, but the question that you asked
Mhm.
suggests to me that that's
Okay.
the issue here, not,
Okay.
not any other reason.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, thank you. Can we have a roll call?
Thank you.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Bates,
Bates, yes.
Vist,
Davis, yes.
Ford. Gums,
Yes. Gums,
Caius,
yes.
Caius, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Pepe,
Deputy, yes.
Keurig.
Yes.
Passes.
All right. So you see why Mr. Berman took the day off. Ah. All right, Mr. Surges, please.
Resolution amending Chapter 2, Article 3, Division 3 of the Ethics Ordinance, the Kane County Code. This is just a housekeeping item to bring us into compliance with state code.
I'll second. Kenyon second.
Okay, are any questions? Mr. Surges, could you please just, for the record, clarify what those changes or compliance, what those items are?
No, I can't. To be perfectly candid, I mean, if on the spot, if Jamie or Vince were here, in this particular instance, I did not read through this for today's meeting, but we addressed it at committee 2 and 3 times. I can ask Ms. Labrillo to come down if you'd like.
Oh, I think since we're voting and it's going to impact our campaign finance, it'd be
just-
nice to have some clarity on it.
Yeah,
Just
what,
for the record.
the basics of it was that the state has certain guidelines and the county's guidelines are not in compliance with that. And while we're doing is a housekeeping to match the state guidelines.
Okay, and I know they've updated the state guidelines, so, okay, very good.
This has been about 3 months in the making, and we just kept kicking the can down the road on this until after the new board was seated. So, but
Okay.
this has totally been vetted from the state's attorney's office.
Oh, I'm sure. Should this be something that perhaps we can ask Ms. Labrillo then?
Sure.
at
Why
the
don't we
board
bounce
meeting?
this down and come back to it? And I'll text Ms. Labrillo now.
There she is.
Oh, she has shown up. Thank you for listening
right
in,
here.
Jamie.
She's running down the stairs.
Give me points for honesty, Jamie.
I was listening. I was up there listening. So just to let you know that the state's attorney did work on this with this particular statute. There is no possibility for the county to set its own rules regarding campaign contributions. So per the state's attorney's review, there is no, you can't even choose to be more restrictive. The statute in this case does not give you any flexibility other than to comply with the state statute. So we are not setting the specific limitations in our code, only setting that the state statute controls this portion.
Okay, and could you just give us a little clarification? Does that mean that we cannot, if as an elected official cannot accept a contribution from somebody who's doing business with the county, or there is a certain set limit in the amount of that?
I would advise all the elected officials to consult the state's attorney for interpretation of that statute if they need help in determining what would be acceptable under those circumstances.
Okay. All right. Mr. Surges, do you think everyone feels comfortable with this?
I will motion and ask for a second, and we'll know momentarily.
I gave you the second.
Mr. Kenyon.
Mr. Kenyon, if we have no other discussion, go ahead and call the roll. Jamie, thank you.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Bates,
Bates, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford, Gums. Ms. Gums,
Gums is a yes.
Caius,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Tepe,
Tepe, yes.
Huron.
Yes.
And Madam Chair, I will have the entire paperwork pushed out to the entire board prior to the board meeting for final vote.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. I think it's just
Absolutely.
helpful.
Yep, thank you. Sorry about that.
Okay, who's next? Ms. Strathman?
Yes, good morning. We have a resolution authorizing the acceptance of fiscal year 2023 embedding peers in emergency departments grant agreement. So this is just a vote on receiving money for this. Any questions?
Kenyon would second.
Okay. Are there any questions or needed clarification on this? Okay, Ms. Strathman, would you like them to call the roll?
Yes, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Bates,
Bates, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford, Gums,
Gums, yes.
Caius,
Yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe,
Tepe, yes.
Huron.
Yes.
Passes.
All right, Mr. Sanchez.
We have for Public Service Committee, one ordinance decreasing the death certificate fee for active duty or retired service members of the United States military. I motion and ask for a second.
Strathman seconds.
Any questions on this? Okay, clerk call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Bates,
Bates, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford, Gums,
Gums, yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe,
Tepe, yes.
Huron.
Yes.
Passes.
Mr. Davis.
Good morning. Well, it's not as many as Vern had to go through, but I will offer 11 items. I will move all 11, ask for a second, and then happily read through them. And,
Sanchez, seconds.
see how we do. Thank you, Jarrett. So the first item, fiscal year 23 county maintenance motor fuel tax appropriation. So you have to appropriate it if you're going to spend it. The item 2, same thing. Well, you have to appropriate it and then you have to put it into the account where you're going to use it. So same kind of thing. Third item, approving the appropriation of the county engineer's salary. Mr. Shadle, I'm sure, is there and deserving of his pay. Number 4 is approving disbursement of the township bridge program funds. Plato Township Road District for the Nestler Road Bridge over Fitchie Creek. Item 5 is approving an intergovernmental agreement between the County of Kane and the PACE, PACE for the Ride in Kane program. The 6th item is approving a Title VI agreement between the Regional Transportation Authority and the County of Kane for the same Ride in Kane program. Number 7 is approving a technical services agreement between the Regional Transportation Authority and the County of Kane for the Ride in Kane program, days 19 and 20 mobility management contract. This is where the federal dollars come in and you have to, do things the way they'd like so that we can continue to have the federal dollars. Number 8 is approving an intergovernmental agreement with the city of Batavia for access and improvements to Kirk Road and Fabian Parkway. Number 9, approving an agreement with Applied Pavement Technology Incorporated of Urbana, Illinois for pavement management services. The 10th one is approving an engineering services agreement with HR Green Incorporated of Aurora for the structure safety inspections. That's primarily bridges. Number 11 is approving a phase 1 and 2 engineering services agreement with Kimley Horn Associates of Chicago for Plank Road improvements and the recessed reflective pavement marker HSIP installation program. That's what we have for you today. We have, I believe we have Carl and Mike in the room for more detailed explanation of any to help us out if you have questions. Otherwise, I would ask for a roll call, please.
Allen,
Allen, I.
Bates,
Bates, aye.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford, Gums,
Gums, yes.
Caius,
Caius, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Sturgis, yes.
Tepe,
Tepe, yes.
Huron.
Yes.
I'll pass.
All right, last one, Mr. Sanchez.
Thank you, Madam Chair. These are the 2 final resolutions for the American Rescue Plan Committee. I will take them separately. The first one, I motion for authorizing the use of state and local fiscal recovery funds to fund the Ogden Gardens Water Service Project for the Kane County Environmental and Water Resources Department. I'll ask for a second.
Molina,
Bates, seconds.
People seconded. I'll let Savannah pick.
Like
But
kids
what-
in the back seat.
Happy here, what's the amount of this?
The amount is, I believe, $470,000. Ms. Walnick is here if you have any specific questions outside of that. Otherwise, this is just a great opportunity to replace some lead water service lines in an identified neighborhood in Aurora, Ogden Gardens, and we're trying to fast track it so that we can get some matching funds, hopefully, from the state.
Thank you.
Yeah, this is an incredibly worthy program. And I think we all are in great support of this. Good work, very good work.
All the thanks goes to Ms. Wolnick and her department.
Absolutely. And for the art committee for approving this.
Any other questions or comments on this? No, clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, aye.
Bates,
Bates, aye.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford. Gums,
Gums, yes.
Caius,
Guys, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linda, yes.
Molina,
Paulina, yes.
Strathman.
Stratton, yes.
Oh, I'm sorry, Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Tepe,
Happy, yes.
Girag.
Yes.
Passes.
And the next and final one is a resolution authorizing the American Rescue Plan part-time administrative coordinator position, an increase in hours worked per week in order to adjust to increased programmatic demands. I'll move and ask for a second. Ford seconds. We're working on bringing our part-time administrative coordinator position on as full-time. And we have some more details to work out on that. So in the meantime, because there is a recognized increase in workload, we're asking that the position for the part-time administrative coordinator increase from 20 hours per week to 29 hours per week to allow for some extra work to be accomplished.
And
Tepe.
yes, Mr. Tepe.
This, Tepe here, this is something that was briefly discussed at the ARPA meeting and I have yet to see any documentation that justifies an increase in hours for this temporary person. We have a full-time person that does this. We have a temporary person that puts in 20 hours. I've seen no indication that we need somebody for additional hours. So I would like to move that this go back to the ARPA committee.
All right, you have a motion on the table right now to move this back. So I believe we need to take a vote on this.
There needs to be a second.
There's no second.
Mr. Tepe, I can refer you to Mr. Phillips for more information. There is, a lot going on, and I know you've met with Mr. Phillips in person to go over some of the processes that we have for our community support grant program, for instance. So I think maybe another conversation with Mr. Phillips would be good for you to find out what kind of workload we're experiencing currently and are projecting to experience. We're putting together a kind of work breakdown structure with some time estimates, as this program was already moving at the time that we hired Mr. Phillips. It has been a continual process of developing a vehicle that is in motion. So some more detailed planning steps were done on the fly. So a more appropriate, I think, in your estimation, work breakdown structure document is forthcoming. But in any case, there was a resolution that was headed to the committee, which would provide more information. But because we're making some changes, you don't have that information before you today. This is just a temporary way for us to meet some of the extra demand and workload and keep administering the program.
Again, doing something on an emergent basis is always a problem. Adding additional expenses, even though this would be paid out of the ARPA funds, adding additional expenses in any area, I think needs to be scrutinized. And, it's not just a matter of just accepting what somebody says we need. I don't see any additional workload. The amount of volume, that have been with the reports on the demand associated with requests just isn't there, in my opinion. And
I appreciate that opinion, Mr. Tepe.
Bates, please.
Yes, Ms. Bates.
So I have an opposite question, maybe. Why is this being limited to 29 hours? I hope it's not one of those things to avoid paying benefits to a hardworking employee.
There is a trigger at 30 hours for benefits, and considering that it's a part-time position, we were advised to keep it at 29. This is temporary as we are working on the resolution to make this a full-time employee position.
Okay.
So this is just a kind of a holdover
Okay.
until we get to that point.
All right.
That will be coming up later this month.
Okay, I hope the county board does not start doing what some other bodies do, which is let people work 29 hours and 59 minutes a week so that we don't have to pay them benefits. Thank you.
Ms. Bates, thank you for that comment. I don't believe it is the practice of this board to do that, nor would we support that.
Thank you.
So it
Chair
is,
Surges?
yes, Mr. Surges.
Jared, are you asking for a period of time on this? You need 29 hours and you're asking for 3 months worth while you figure stuff out, or is this an open-ended 29 hours?
I think it's really open-ended, but the intention was to have the full-time resolution on the past month's agenda. That got pulled. We're making some edits and it will be coming at the end of this month. So this will just provide for that month in between, some more work can get done.
And how much is the position allotted now?
20 hours
You're asking for 9 hours.
extra, yes. And it's already budgeted. We have that money budgeted for administrative expenses. It's no additional cost.
Vern, would you accept an amendment just for 60 days? At the 29 hours while we figure out whether we need this or not?
I'm sorry, I don't understand the question.
Would, you're objecting to this, would you accept it for just a 60-day period? If they're saying that they need the extra hours, it's not, you're talking 9 hours a week?
9 hours.
Yes.
Could you accept that for 60 days to get them caught up or prove that they need it? You don't have to, I'm just asking.
To me, I don't think it makes any difference because he's gonna come back with a resolution asking for a full-time position anyway.
I think,
Fine, then call the question.
I don't
And
mean,
yeah,
that-
I
I
agree.
don't mean that in a nasty way. I meant that in a logical way. We're gonna have the same argument regardless. I just think it should be decided at the committee level, not at this level.
if I may interject, it's 29 hours. This resolution, the way it reads, will stay in place until we have a new resolution for either additional hours or to lessen those hours. So up to 29, no more than, I think is fine. And if the board chooses and the committee chooses not to extend this position's hours to a full-time position, they still have up to 29. So I think you've got some flexibility on this.
Any other
So,
questions or comments?
I think we can call the question. Or just call the vote, I mean.
Allen,
Allen, aye.
Bates,
Bates, yes.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford, Gums,
Gums, yes.
Caius,
Guys, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Tepe,
Cheppy, no.
Pirog.
Yes.
Passes with 1 no.
All righty. Do we go into executive session?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. So may I have a motion and a second to go into executive session to discuss closed session minutes?
Bates moves.
Strathman seconds.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Allen,
Allen, aye.
Bates,
Bates, aye.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford,
Yes.
Gums,
Gums, yes.
Caius,
Guys, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Lewis,
Yes.
Linder,
Linder, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Yes.
Surges,
Surges, yes.
Tepe,
Cheppy, yes.
Pirog.
Okay, very good. Yeah, yes, yes.
Okay, everybody online, please accept the invite to go into the closed session. Be aware that we are live streaming. So until I give you the word, anything you say will be going out live to the public on YouTube. So please accept those invites and we'll get started shortly.
Blair, excuse me, this is the first time I've done this. So how do I accept it? Will it be sent to me?
You should see
email?
something in just a second that says.
Oh, I see it. Join. Got it.
Yes.
Thank you.
She probably needs another pair of glasses.
I need folks in the room to join as well, and I'm still missing a couple of folks in the closed session.
Get new glasses.
My optometrist is in.
I'm still missing one person to join the closed session.
Change optometrist. You could go to Walmart or
Is there anybody hearing my voice that feels they should be in the closed session?
Efficiency. He's the best.
All right. Hello, everybody. We're back. Clerk, we are back in open session. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Allen,
Allen present.
Bates,
Bates here.
Berman, Davis,
Davis here.
Ford, Gums,
Comes here.
Caius,
Guy is present.
Kenyon,
Here.
Lewis,
Who's here?
Linder,
Under here.
Molina,
Molina present.
Sanchez,
Sanchez present.
Strathman,
Strathman here.
Surges,
Burgess present.
Tepe,
That be here.
Huron.
Here.
Quorum.
All righty. Now, may I please have a motion and a second to approve the release of closed session minutes and Exhibit A by recommendation of the state's attorney?
Allen moves.
Sanchez seconds.
Okay. Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Allen,
Allen, I.
Bates,
Bates, aye.
Davis,
Davis, yes.
Ford, Gums,
Comes, yes.
Caius,
Guys, yes.
Kenyon,
Yes.
Lewis,
Lewis, yes.
Linder,
Under, yes.
Molina,
Molina, yes.
Sanchez,
Sanchez, yes.
Strathman,
Strathman, yes.
Surges,
Burgess, yes.
Tepe,
That be yes.
Huron.
Yes.
Accepted.
All right, very good. Now, are there any committee reports?
Burgess,
Yes, Mr. Surges.
as you will check your email, I've already sent to Vincent and Jamie to have that resolution and sent out to the entire board for review, and I apologize for stumbling on that. And then secondly, in our earlier discussion regarding the Zoom, it kind of seemed to me appropriate that if we are ever going to executive session, that I would like to see the faces of the people that are in that executive session, not just the blacked out. I don't know what that's called, not just their name and their face blacked out, but they should be on screen for executive.
Okay.
Just didn't consider that when we discussed it earlier. Yeah. I'm
Okay.
sorry, closed session.
Closed session.
I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, because you could have seen my confused look as I lost audio and couldn't fix it right away.
Mark, we all have confused looks. It's still technology. Always will be a challenge. Okay, thank you. That's it? Mr. Surges?
Yes, ma'am. Sorry.
Okay, is there any other one? Anyone else?
Madam Chairman,
Yes,
in
Mr. Kenyon.
absence of no additional business, I move we adjourn and go outside.
Have a second.
So I think all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay,
That's your only class.
As we do that.
so I'm going out to, I'll let you know what it is. I think it's like 65 degrees outside right now.
Don't want to hear it.